Hey everybody, and welcome to my In5 series on the SP404 mk2, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. Today, I just wanted to show you guys some things that I've been working on over, I don't know, the last year or two, just trying to poke at some of the components in the firmware, the pattern files, PADCONF, and other stuff. And I was like, you know what? It is time for me to set up a Git repository for anybody that happens to be interested. I know I'm going to be showing some technical stuff and probably scare away just about everybody, but I wanted to start just pushing at this and figuring out some of the file formats. It requires a lot of math and deductive reasoning and logic, but for those that want to stick around, what I've got up here, up top, and this is files checked into the repository, has been just trying to go through and type up notes on what is going on in the PADCONF.BIN file. It looks like we should be able to figure out what the heck it is and get things figured out. I'm just basically just putting in the hex file location values and trying to document what everything is and for the different parts of the data structure. I'm not like super far through. I'd started initially because somebody was asking how do you bulk change the BPM values for a whole bunch of files, and actually ended up making this BPM edit Python script. It isn't very feature rich or anything else, but it does actually work. You can give it a file for PADCONF.BIN and point it at what pad you want to edit and do some BPM stuff. Could be a much richer application and do a whole lot of things like change the reverse or change file names or other stuff. But for the moment, it's just at least a proof of concept that it does actually work and can edit at least a couple values and variables here. So you're also probably going to see here a whole bunch of PADCONF 001 through 018.bin. I'm probably just going to check these into the repo with the intent of just while I'm kind of working through and trying to figure out what the file format is, trying to document what, actually I'm going to go down here. I'm trying to document with this PADCONF_list.txt what changes I have kind of made or some other things as I'm tweaking it, and then just kind of look at the hex output differences with the intent of trying to figure out what in the world is going on here. So a few weird things I have been able to find. If I come back up, oops, wrong file, is for example, the start value, and I suspect that these values for start, loop, and end are all 4 bytes. That's my guess. That seems to be what you need to be able to represent the file length in the data structure. It seems like it's fine. When you look at the, I'll just put it up here. If you go start and end, if you look at the value here, if you hold shift and hit enter, you get your value readouts. And it might be a little bit hard to see on the screen here for OBS, but like your start, loop, and end all have values here. They all seem to be multiplied by 4 for some reason. I'm not totally sure about that. This is a stereo file that I have recorded. It might actually be multiplied by 2 for a mono file. I haven't even started looking into that yet to figure out the math, but a interesting thing I have noticed that had kind of given me some pause when trying to figure this out before was that if the value seems to be about 63 over here, 63 to 60, I think 64. Once you hit 64, it just always adds 512 to it. I'm not sure if this is because it just knows that it can stuff metadata of some kind into the .smp sample file. That's the native file format for the SP404 mk2, or if it's doing something else. But yeah, there's just all kinds of weird things to look at here. But effectively what I've just been doing is I'll make one change and see what the actual value change is in hex, and then see if I can get a good sense for example, gate here. If you turn it off or on, you end up with a bit flip change on the byte 00B4 in that file location for pad 1. If you're looking at pad 2, you're going to basically just add 172 to that value and end up getting the next pad that will be further down. So you can do this. The math should work out that it goes from 1 to 160, and then we get all kinds of fun things like when I change reverse, we get all kinds of file changes changed here. I don't know why it's doing this. I suspect that this is the bit that does it, and then when you hit reverse, it's probably doing a calculation for switching the loop point or something from start and end. Haven't figured that out yet, just slowly working my way into that. I also did see that the sample names are stored at the end of the file, not the beginning, so this is probably just because it was a later addition into the PADCONF.BIN that Roland made. I bet you if we were to go back to an older version of firmware, we could figure some of this stuff out when it came in or anything. But honestly, I'm just taking the assumption, making the assumption of firmware 5.01 or 2 is a fine starting point to kind of continue working on looking through this. So yeah, if I can, or if anybody's interested in like kind of helping out, I mean, really all I'm doing is I'll come in, I will make a small change on the SP404 mk2. I will then export the project. I'll load it up and then make a new PADCONF file over here in the Git repo and add some notes about what I changed, then kind of work my way through. So right now you can see I've just been kind of working on pads 1, 2, and 3. I'll probably actually check this into the repo as a project because pad 1 and 2 are more or less silent. Like, it doesn't really matter what the content is here, but pad 3 is a maximum length, what is like the 186 megabyte file. So I've been trying to use that as a way to figure out some of the data structure, or like this 512 byte thing that's going on that I don't quite understand, and kind of break that down. So if we can figure out PADCONF.BIN, it will allow us to get some better tools written for handling exported projects. From there, I'm also going to, I haven't done it yet, I did an old video live stream where I was looking at the pattern files. That's another one that I think we can actually figure out and get broken down so that we can kind of dig into that. And I'll see if I can find my old notes on the firmware and maybe just add some of that stuff, because there is some interesting things to glean and learn out of the firmware, and maybe we can end up kind of poking at that as well. So anyway, for any of you people out there that are interested in just kind of hacking on the SP404 mk2, figuring out data formats and all that, and you haven't looked at it before, feel free to contribute. I'm going to put in the description the link to the Git repo and let you guys kind of go poke along with it as I do. Or if you just want, maybe I'll do some live streams or something as I mess around with this so people can kind of get a sense for what I'm doing, why I can talk through why I'm doing it, and yeah, figure this thing out a little bit more. Anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.